Hello everyone, this is Siddesh. Today we are going to learn about FeathersJS. This is the official website of FeathersJS. When you type FeathersJS, here we have some guides, the full API documentation, help section, and different versions available. So let's just get started with it. We'll be using TypeScript and MongoDB. This is the basic get started guide. You can follow along with me. Okay. Just click on Quick Start. So Feathers is nothing but a framework for backend RESTful APIs. It's built on Express framework. Today we'll be doing the basic getting started app, which is available on Feathers or documentation. Let's follow this. Let's copy this command. We'll create the application first. While installing, it will ask some questions. So do you want to use JavaScript or TypeScript, the short description and all. So let's just wait for it and we'll answer these questions. We'll be using TypeScript. Feathers child application. We'll be using Express. We'll be using both real-time as well as HTTP. You can deselect any of them by clicking on plus a space. We're using npm. Well, we'll just create client. We're going to use typebox and MongoDB as a database. This will be the default connection string for the MongoDB. Let's just leave it at that. So now Feathers has created some files for us and the project directory. Let's wait. The packages are getting installed, so let's wait for it. Once that is done, we will move to this directory, Feathers chat, and then we'll try to run our project. It's almost complete. Okay. See, the Feathers application is ready. Now we'll just move. Okay. Now we are inside this application. Here you can see the terminal. Now what we'll do is we'll just run this. We'll do this in development mode, so npm run there. Let's go to this folder structure. So inside config, we will have three JSON files. So this default.json will have the environment variables for you. So this is MongoDB URL connection string, which will help us to connect with the database. This is the default uh, and maximum pagination count, the local host, the port, and the public folder. This is the origin URL. Let's move to the custom environment variables where we can add our own variables. This will be recognized by feathers. This is the default index.html page. You can go post 3030 and we can see that our feathers application is running as well as here you can see as well. Feathers app is running on 3034. This is fire icon. I think this is not getting rendered here. That's why that error comes. Okay, let's move to this src folder. So some of the files are generated for us in TypeScript. So this validator is responsible to validate our schemas. We will talk about schemas in a later part when we'll be using schemas and creating schemas for MongoDB. So the AJV is used to validate the JSON schema. This is MongoDB configuration. So here you can see this MongoDB function, and we will get the MongoDB environment variable by using app.get. So this MongoDB will be taken from here, MongoDB, and that connection string will be stored in this connection, and it will be converted into the URL, and we will have the path name, which and by doing substring, we'll be having database name. So what I mean is this is the database name. So by we will get the path name, and then first we'll find the second index element from the array, that is for the string. So we'll be having database name, and we will connect using Mongo client. So we'll not be using Mongoose, and but we'll use the default MongoDB driver as Mongo client. Logger is the service. We'll be using Winston to log any errors or warning or any information that we want to log. This is the starting point of our application, where we'll be getting the host and the port from this default.json file, and we're importing the logger file, basic stuff like whether I have listening on to this port and host. It's not necessary for now. Let's just leave it at this. Configuration. So this configuration file is for your custom environment and any configuration that you want to do in the application. Let's leave client for now. Channel.ts is used for socket connections. So this is the second entry point of our application, where we are importing feathers, express, and all the functions provided by express. So feathers has created its wraparound over express to get the express functionalities. We're importing socket.io. Again, feathers has created its wrapper on socket.io. This MongoDB we have imported the services and the channels, the logger functions. We're using cors, JSON, you are imported. This is socket.io configuration, by the way. We have a global hook here Hooks are nothing but the functions we if we want to run before or after the REST API call. So we'll talk about hooks later on. Okay, okay. Let's start with the basic application. So we will be using JWT authentication, that is local authentication. Okay, so let's generate authentication. So email and password is the default, that is local strategy. We'll select GitHub as well. So our default authentication service name would be user. Let's leave it at that. It should be users. Should use the MongoDB. I should use type box as a schema. Okay, let's move to services. Services are the endpoints that give us the CURD methods, that is find, get, create, update, patch, remove. So let's generate a service. Now that our service is created, here you can see user service has been created when we do the authentication, when we created the authentication service, and message service has been created when we run this command and it's feather generate service. So what, let's just check this user service. Okay, so let's go, let's share. Here you can see this user path. This is the endpoint that we can say where we'll get the user's data. Currently, user path uh, has find, get, create, patch, and remove methods. Then we'll just check the schema. So user schema has underscore ID, that is the MongoDB ID as a primary key. Then email and password for authentication. We can give first name and as we are using type box, so we can It's like this name, then last name. We're not keeping optional here because we want first name and last name. Additional password is not optional, it's a mandatory field. Okay. So what does this validator means? This validator will help us to validate whatever data is passed to the user's endpoint whenever we try to create. This resolver is run uh, in around hook, uh, which will resolve some values for us. We'll look about this in later video. So this password, what does this mean? Async and returning undefined, which means that whenever we will have the user's endpoint and when we hit the get all that is find endpoint, we should not be seeing the password field in that. So it will automatically remove the password field. This async undefined function will remove the password field when we get the response from the find call. So when we create the new entry, we want first name, last name to be present. While hashing the password, we are using the strategy local. The passwords are hashed always. This is a query schema. So what all properties are allowed in query schema? So underscore ID email, GitHub ID will remove. We'll add first name, last name. You can add additional properties as well into this query schema. Okay. Now to this. Screen chat, create users, new request, will be get user, HTTP, localhost, whatever, users. Just like this. Okay. Now we are getting not authenticated error, which means that we haven't passed the token. To pass the token, we must have a user at least. So let's connect to our database. And we will try to create a user. By the way, why do we getting that authentication error? Just check. If you check this users.ts file, here you can see that whenever we try to run find method, this authenticate JWT method is getting run and it is trying to validate our token, and if the token is provided, then it will check whether whether the token is first provided, or then it will check whether the token is valid or not. So we're trying to get all the users without passing the token itself in the headers. That's why we're getting not authenticated. Now first we will create a user by doing post call, pass some data, we do one thing, pass email, this is email ID or email, only email. Okay. Okay, let's just try to create one. Now we are getting some error which says that okay, property missing property which is first name must have required property first name because we haven't added that type dot optional. The first name is the required property now. So let's add it. Now let's try. As you can see that the user has been created. If you see, this is the database and this is the collection, and we can see that the user has been created successfully. What we are missing is that the created date of the user. So if we add it, this hope we will not look into it. It's not important. Schemas and resolvers. Okay. So when we create an entry, we should have a created at date, which identifies that okay, this is the date and time when this document has been created. So we will add created date very soon. Okay, we just have this created on schema. Now, so what we want to do is while creating a new entry, we want this created at to be automatically fulfilled. So here you can see in the message data resolver, we can write like this created at and return date dot. So what we'll do is in the while creating the new entry in the user data resolver, we'll add created. Okay, this is nothing but just returning the number in the date, so date in the number format. Okay, now if we try to create users, okay, see created at is doing there. So the thing is that uh, now if you see, I am able to add duplicate users as well. So with the same email, but I don't want to do that. I want email to be a unique value throughout the application. So what we can do is we can create a unique index on it. So we have this much code already. So let's go to users class. We can write 10 and we can add the collection. Okay. And can create that collection dot create index. Say that in which property we want to create index, email, and what kind of index we want to do. Unique, you should be true. We, after applying that index to the collection, we must return the collection. That's it. Now the unique index has been created. We check this indexes here. As you can see, on email field we have the unique index now. Okay. Now if I try to go, let's see. Yeah, you can see that if I try to add the user with the same email, then we are getting duplicate. Okay. So now this case has been handled. Okay. Let's move. Now that we have created this user, let's just try to log in. We confirm that login would be login request, post or authentication. So the route will be authentication. I have to pass somebody. First is email, then password, and after it's admin, and the strategy, which is local. Okay, and then let's look at the mail. Now if I try to send this, we are getting back with the access token as a response and the payload of the access token, the expiry date, when it is been created, its unique JTI number. This is the user ID. If you go see, it ends with 2361, F2361, and the user whose token is this token belongs to. And even if you can see that password is not shown here as well. Okay, now we'll use this token, try to get users. Now if I try to do it again, not authenticated, and if I use authorization as a request header and paste this and try, as you can see that I'm able to fetch the data. Again, password field is not returned when the response is given by the feathers. It's been removed from the response because we have added this password, async undefined. If we uncomment this, try to do it, expect, and as you can see, password, even though it's hashed, still the password field is uh, returned in the response. It should not. Let's add that line. Okay, now move to handling messages. So let's move to messages. Add this fields. So text, we will keep it as it is. We'll add created date. Then we'll add user ID and the user details. Okay, we can import this user schema from user.schema with this file. Okay, we have done with this and done with this. We'll look into this virtual now. So what virtual does is it will okay, let's just create the message first and then we'll look into this uh, virtual thing. And then we'll show it to you. Okay, so this user ID, we will populate the value based on the current logged in user, that is, which token has been used. So that sub value you have seen in the token, that will be used here as a user ID. Let's go to this message data resolver. While creating the entry of a message. So message data resolver, and we will add this user ID and this context.params.user. So in context object, we have current logged in user details. So we'll do one thing, user ID. It's an async function which takes some values, value, data, and context. So you can refer to as message as well, current message. Okay. And we can return the object ID of that, the context, the params dot user from underscore ID. And for created date, async dot now in right of this. Okay, everything is working fine. Let's try to create a message. This access token. Create another folder, messages, and request. Create message. With the request. It should be a post request of In headers, we have authorization, passing this token, messages. Okay, we'll just try to get it first. Okay, so now we are getting 0 messages. We'll try to create one. Okay, so we are getting error that okay, text is mandatory. So let's just add text. Text is hi. This is my first message. As you can see, this 63F2361 2361 is the token that we have used, and the message has been created. Here in the database as well, you can see another collection has been created, and we have this message text user ID created it. Now, just duplicate this and we'll get all them. We try to get the messages. Now, if you see, we are getting the user ID, but we don't know which user has created this message or sent this message. So now we'll use that virtual thing. So let's just import virtual from Feather schema. Okay, now go to external resolver. You can type user. So if we want to populate this page by virtual, which takes a function, the async function, and which takes the current message and the context. Now, what we'll do is by using context, we have the app uh, available in the context. We can uh, access any service inside any app, inside the app. If the service is exposed, now we know that the user service is exposed by us, so we can access to it. So that context dot app dot service, the user service, and we'll use get. This get is given get by ID. So we know that a message, and in message we have a user ID. So in user ID, we're getting that user ID, and based on that user ID, we can get the user's value. So we'll just return this. So now if I try to run this, um, just rename it, get messages. Okay. And if I try to run this, now we have the user's data as well. And again, no password field. What if we want only this first name and last name or email only? We'll look into it later on, how to get only specific data and not the entire document, because we might have multiple fields in users collection and we don't want to expose those them. Okay, we can update this. So this is another check you can do. So this does nothing but whenever we query this message endpoint with users with an authenticated user. So once the user is authenticated and we got the user's data, we have the user's ID now. What we'll do is we'll get the contextual parameter user and we'll check the method uh, currently running on that endpoint. And if it is not a find method, okay. So this user ID is falling under this query params. So whenever the query is resolved, we will have the value of the user ID. So if the user is authenticated, that is, it's been API has been provided with the headers authorization header, this bearer token, which means that user is present and the current method where the endpoint is running on is not a find method, meaning it could be update or create or any other method. Then we are returning the that authenticated user's ID as a user ID. So they will be only able to modify their data because we are returning their ID here. Otherwise, we are returning the value that has been passed here. Okay, so we can add this. Uh, this all by here. Okay, we've already seen this. Let's not focus on GitHub for now. Okay, I think our application is ready from backend perspective. Now let's use this and check if we are done with it by using React's code provided by Feathers. So, okay. 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 This is check where did I find that? I'm not going to do this basic HTML thing in JavaScript. We will be using React for this. Feathers ecosystem. You can find this repository here on feathers-ecosystem, feathers-chat-react. I'm not able to find the link here. It's there, they have provided it, but somehow I am missing it. Oh, this is React chat. You can see this. API client. Okay, it's not first time. What we're doing is we are going to connect our Feathers application with the React. So let's see how to do it. Okay, so instead of using that repository given by Feathers, let's create white app our own self. App latest see project name, share, TypeScript. Okay, we will follow the code. Tailwind CSS, framework files, and we have done this process already. So let's complete this. This command will generate this file config.js, tailwind config.js, where we can add this content. It will just identify all the files under SRC folder with the JS, TS, JSX, and TS section, and it will look for the class name attribute. Copy this piece of code and paste it in index.css. Okay, run the application again. Now tailwind has been applied. If you want to check, just write last name LG web 400, and you can see this table is having the red background. Okay, let's install the FeathersJS client and Socket.io client library. Feathers client, and then Feathers Socket.io client, Socket.io client. This client is loaded by Socket.io. Create the feathers.js file as well. Here in the src folder. Copy on this code. And then we'll create the socket. Connect. Okay. HTTP colon//localhost. Sorry, that will be the backend URL. Then we can create the instance client. Then configure the socket.io. We're storing the token in the local storage. And export it so that we can use it in the other files. Okay. Now we'll move to login. Just copy these inputs and the button. So we'll just copy the form. First, we'll create these functions. We'll create two states. First one is for email. Set email with state. Let's give the initial value as string, empty string. Let's import that from the React. Use this email value here. Same goes for password. And not this for now. We'll use this login component here. Let's see our application. Okay, no styles. Add some. Let's not use this extension. Okay, so we'll use it with full height. Okay, height screen. Okay, so here's flex, justify, center, items, center. We'll use some padding. give minimum height. And sign up should have order with in sky somewhere. And on hover should be 600 and hover next should be white position. And for this it should be executable. On hover background should be white and hover dot should be applied and hover should be sky 600 transition should be applied. Okay, text here I have nothing. Hover text should be sky 600. Okay, okay, okay. Import the client. course error.